Welcome to One Insight. My name is Litvin. I grew up in London and I now live in LA. And this is a podcast for extraordinary top performers and their coaches. You see, I've coached some of the most successful and talented people on the planet. I can see what most people cannot see, and I dare to say what most people wouldn't dare to say. And what I know about success is that on the other side of it, it can be incredibly lonely. You can feel more of an imposter the more successful you become. And when you're the most interesting person in the room, you're actually in the wrong room. Clients who are more successful, more intelligent, and wealthier than you need your support more than they know and more than you can imagine. I coach around insight. Life looks one way, something happens, and the world looks different, and your entire world changes. It can happen in an instant. And this podcast is called One Insight because a single insight can change everything. In a moment, you're going to hear me coaching Amyee. Amy's a member of 4PC. She's a very high-performing coach, does great work with people on their mind, their body, and their spirit. And I asked her a question early on because I hear her words talking about helping her clients with their deep desires. I always listen to my clients' words, so I reflect them back to her. Tell me about your deepest desire. And of course, it takes us deep. And she talks about a mission that she wants and some of the things that the doubts that hold her back. And I have an idea of creating a board of advisors for Amyee. And I help her map out a table with the people she would need to get to the next level. I put it to you that whatever you're up to right now, you need a board of advisors. Sometimes those advisors are living people. Sometimes they're no longer even living. We have a loved one who we need to check in with. We have someone who's famous, who we'd love to get their wisdom, and we can get that. We don't quite go there with Amyee. We go to real people, but she begins to map out the table, the boardroom table she'd sit at that would make her dream real with this board of advisors that we create around her. And I leave her with a challenge around the word no. It's a challenge that almost every client I've ever worked with needs to take on, because what got you here is saying yes to almost every opportunity that arises. And what will get you to where you're going next is saying no to almost every opportunity that arises. And out of that comes the challenge that I give to Amyee. Enjoy. Hi, Amyee.
Hi, Rich.
Hey. So I said just before we began, no pressure. We'll go anywhere we need to go, or we can both relax. We don't have to try and prove anything to one another or to anyone who might listen later. I'm looking forward to having a conversation with you. I'm just beginning to get to know you. You're a new member in 4PC.
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about your background. What are you doing now in the world?
Yeah, what I'm doing now in the world, kind of do a different coaching in different spaces. I do some business mentorship coaching. I do a lot of deep healing, transformational work in my one-on-one containers and in my programs. I do a lot of somatic coaching and breath work to allow and facilitate people's healing journey and access to their intuition, to their trust, to their desire. So weave together the modalities and different types of experiences that I create to hold my clients in whatever way they need.
I love that. I'm always interested in people who bring different and unique talents and ideas into the mix, because that makes you really stand out in the world. And I'm particularly fascinated myself by somatic coaching. So I'm studying intuition right now. So that the breath work that you do, lots of what you bring in coaching, it can be very heady from the neck up.
Yeah.
What do you want? What do you want to create? And actually, so much of life happens from the neck down that we don't actually have access to, most of us in this day and age.
Yes. Yes. I really started to realize that in my own healing journey within myself. And that's what's kind of driven what I create in my coaching containers as well. But I love getting people out of their head and accessing that body, that deep power within, that desire within. It's what lights me up for real.
Nice. Tell me about the deep desire within you right now. What do you deeply desire?
Yeah, it's interesting. After Italy, I really have been thinking and reflecting on what my what my deepest desire is and what my vision is, like what's my purpose, which is such a broad big question. And what I was going for before, I don't know if that is what I desire anymore. Um, the thing that keeps coming up for me is a healing center, a healing space. And for people that can come from all over the world, can come and have an experience unlike any other. It's been what has been on my heart and mind for the last couple of years. Um, and I don't know. Like, is that it? And I guess that's where I am right now. Is that it? Is that what I want, or is there more?
Well, let me take all the pressure off, because the belief I have about purpose is that hopefully at some day in your hundreds, you're lying surrounded by loved ones as you're about to pass away, and you're glancing back on your life, and that's the moment when you go, "Oh, that was my purpose."
Mm,
I don't know if we necessarily need to know it in advance. And even those of us who think we know it right now, how many times in your life has your career changed, your life changed, and different things have happened? Even if you knew what you wanted now, it turns out it wasn't what you wanted 5 years later, 10 years later. So
mm,
take the pressure. You
yeah.
don't have to get it nailed down right now. It's okay. You can have a sense of purpose right now behind, I know what I do behind everything I do. I help powerful people remember how powerful they are. That's a constant, but it's not about how it shows up in the world. There's no logistics to that. There's just underlying, it drives me. It always has, partly because my struggle has always been feeling powerless. So that's a
Mm.
driver of what I'm up to. But I think, just like I'm saying to you, at some point I'll look back on my life, hopefully, and go, oh, turns out it was that I didn't know back then.
Yeah. I feel like what comes up when I hear that, I'm like, yeah, I want that too. That thread, right, that drives everything. Um, and then there's this sense of, oh, I can't control. I want to control it. I want to have it be like clean and well orchestrated. Um, uh, because I have done that with my life of just saying yes to the things that are yeses in the moment. And is that okay? Like, I know the answer, but
Mhm. Well, this is what I call a golden thread. And it might be that one of your golden threads is say yes to life, say yes in the moment.
Hmm.
That's an interesting and novel way to live life. Not many people live life that way. Shonda Rhimes wrote about it, right? Is it Year of Yes? I forget what she called it now. There are a few people who live life that way, but not many.
Mm, mm. Yeah, that is how I live my life. Say yes when it's a yes. Saying no when it's a no, it might be the more of the challenge, I guess.
That's an interesting catch. What did you love to do when you were 6 years old? What lit you up when you were six?
I loved to play outside and create forts. And yeah, used to create beautiful spaces outside, beautiful, but like really cool little spaces with my sister and play games. And yeah, I was outside all the time.
So what's interesting, what I hear there is that at 6 years old, you love to be out in nature and
Hmm.
create beautiful places. And would I be correct that being out in nature has been a theme throughout your whole life?
Yes, absolutely. Nature's very I feel at home there and I have really deep access to myself when I'm out in nature.
Yeah, it was a rhetorical question because I knew the answer to that one. Creating beautiful spaces. I don't know the answer to that one, although it's
Yeah.
a beautiful space to see behind you right now. But what I did hear you say, there's this vision of a beautiful healing center. And at 6 years old, you were creating beautiful spaces. So I see there's a possibility of a golden thread all the way through your life from then till now.
Mm, yeah. Yeah.
Now, I've got a question about that because when I lost my job in 2005, I went off to Thailand. I went to an amazing retreat center called the Sanctuary on an island called Koh Phangan.
Mm,
This was an amazing place, beautiful. I did yoga, I did meditation. The space was amazing. And I realized I want to build my own retreat center. But it didn't take too many weeks of that desire to realize, oh, as I got to know the people there, if you run a retreat center, it's like a hotel. A lot of the time, you're making sure that bathrooms are cleaned and towels are in the room. And it got a guest who's upset. And I realized, huh, I might want to take clients to beautiful retreat centers around the world. I don't want to own one. And I wanted to check in with you on that one. And I just took you guys to a beautiful retreat in Italy. Went to a beautiful boutique hotel on the shores of Lake Como. That's my kind of style. It's handled for me, but I get to make the magic happen in the room. It's the magic that I'm interested in. I want the space to be amazing. I just don't want to curate it. That may be different for you. I'm checking in.
What's coming through is yes. I don't want to be the one making sure that the bathrooms are clean and the guests are well taken care of. No, that feels heavy to me. But I want it a certain way and I want it a certain place. And so it doesn't exist where I want it. So there's a little bit of a conflict there of like, well, I want this thing that doesn't exist. So should I build it?
What's the conflict? What I hear is, oh, that means you need someone who will do that for you. I have people on my team who do certain things, so I don't have to. I was at a retreat with a friend led this weekend, and I was helping him take all the boxes inside to help set the retreat up. And I said to him, oh, I don't do this. So my team do this for me. And he said, I love to. I love the physical work of doing this. And I don't. So I've got people who do that for me because that's what makes me feel alive. I can do other things. He does. So you might find the people who you need so you can have this amazing retreat in the beautiful space that you want, but you're not ever looking in a bathroom or speaking to a guest about their meals.
Yes. That's what I want. I have a hard time asking for help and offloading. Getting tearful. Yeah.
So that's an interesting word, offloading. You see, I don't offload anything onto my team. I've built a team of people who live in zones of genius. And all I do is help them get more and more into their zones of genius as time goes on. So they love what I do because I help them do the things that they love. I don't love them. I don't understand why they want to do those certain things, but they do. I've got a bookkeeper who loves to do the books. I've got an accountant who gets turned on looking at numbers. I don't understand, but I seek out people like that in my life. So I'm never offloading or delegating anything.
Has it always been like that?
I said to my cleaner once, what do you really want to do in life? What do you want to do later on in life? And she said, Rich, I only love two things in life. I love kids. She used to take care of our kids. I love kids, and I love making people's homes look beautiful. If I go into my friend's home, I have to straighten the pictures and tidy up. And I realized all my thoughts about, can I support you and get the dream of the life you really love? She's living the life she really loves. So has it always been like that? No, you can find a talk I did online called I Don't Need Help. If you Google my name and I Don't Need Help, you'll see this talk when my kids were maybe 3 and 4. I forget the exact age. Monique was away and I was exhausted. I was burnt. I had nothing left. I couldn't cope. I was struggling. She was away for a few days. And I called some of my buddies and they came around and they took me out for a walk. They pushed the stroller with the kids in, went for a walk. And I remember that feeling of, I should make a conversation and ask them how they're doing. And on the inside, I don't give a shit. I am burnt out. I'm walking. They're taking care of me. And we got home, half an hour, 40 minutes later. And I said, thanks, guys. You can go. I appreciate that. I really appreciate you. And they went, we are not leaving until those kids are in bed. And you can come and sit down on the sofa and you can relax. And I cry. I've never had that kind of support. I've always kept it out. I'm good. You want help? I'm there for you. You ask, how's it going? I'm good. Thank you. I'm all right. There's not been like that. Look, why do you think we're in the profession we're in? We're in giving, caring professions. You were in the nursing field before this. I was in the teaching field. Nursing and teaching are vocations. You don't do them because of the money you get. You do them because you love making a difference to people's lives. And there's a price you pay.
Yeah. So that's the work is learning how to more, and I have, I have, but learning how to ask for that support and receive it and be just as comfortable in that openness of receiving as I am at giving and holding space and doing the things for other people.
Yeah. Receiving is challenging, receiving in all sorts of ways. I took members of 4PC to a theater in Santa Monica a few years ago, and I told them they each had to give like a mini TED talk, a 10-minute talk that would 10x the impact of everyone in the room. And at the end, as each person finished their presentation, they'd walk off, and I had to call them back on, stand and receive while people applaud. Everyone wanted to leave the stage. You've got to receive. It's a gift to receive. And we find it really hard to do in this day and age in all sorts of ways. So I get it. I really do. And I've learned to build a team. A few years ago, I was running an event, and Monique, my wife, came up to me and said, Rich, I just heard two team members saying, one said there's a problem, and the other one said, don't worry, we don't need to tell Rich about this. And she was worried. And I said, oh, that's great. I don't want to hear about a problem if my team can solve it for me. I'm empowering them to solve problems, not to come and tell me about them. So I've learned some distinctions for how I build a team. I've learned how to build a team so that I'm leading, not managing. I've learned how to build a team so that they can step into their zones of genius. I've used tools. I use tools like Kolbe, Kolbe, which tells me how I operate in the world and how my team operate. So I've got people who complement me, don't replicate me. And have you ever had, usually the first assistant we ever hire, we fire them a few weeks or a few months later, and neither they nor I understand it. Does that sound familiar? You ever done that?
Yes, I have.
Well, that happens because the first assistant we hire, we go, oh my God, she's amazing. He's amazing. And the reason we think they're amazing is they're just like us. And what we don't realize when we hire this amazing person is that we don't want someone just like us. So, but what happens a few weeks later, like they've got the same problems that we do. They're stuck in the same areas that we're stuck. They're trying to advise us on the things that we know how to do already, and they can't do the things we don't know how to do. And we get frustrated and we fire them. So there are lots of distinctions, and I can share some with you over time about how to build a team, how to take on your first assistant so that they complement you, don't replicate you. Use tools like Kolbe or the Enneagram or StrengthsFinder. Great tools to build and nurture a team.
Yeah, that lands, that resonates. And how to have them lead, empower them to lead in their role instead of manage, I think is a shift that I want to intentionally make in my business.
So a great leader creates other leaders, not followers. And that's what I work really hard to do. I mean, you've met some of my team now. You're at our event in Italy. My team are amazing. And I've empowered them to lead. And I'll lead when it's needed. I'm the business owner. Eventually, I've got to make certain decisions. But I've empowered this team of powerful people to step up and lead.
Yeah. That feels really good.
Yeah. Yeah. So look, what comes before all of this is you've got to get clear on what you want. If you have a mission big enough, A, nothing will stop you, and B, you'll be willing to receive the help that you need. The way I put it is if you've got a mission you can accomplish on your own, you're not dreaming big enough. If you've got a mission you can accomplish on your own, you're not dreaming big enough.
Okay. Yep.
Now, for everyone who's listening, that doesn't have to be true for everybody. For some of us, there's a wonderful book called A Company of One that's about building a one-person business. I love that approach. I bring that approach in even though I'm building a team. But I think where you want to go, if this is what you want, Amyee, you've got to look at, okay, if I want this enough, I need a team around me.
A team of leaders.
What I would start with for you is a board of advisors. Do anything, create a board of advisors. And here's how you do it. Do you have a piece of paper in front of you?
Yes.
Draw a rectangle like you're looking down on a table, like a conference table from above.
Okay.
And draw 6 little circles around the table. So 1 at the head of the table and 3 down each side.
Okay.
Now, I want you to imagine that this is a table that you're going to sit at some point, and there'll be some advisors around you. And these advisors are the ones who are going to help you, guide you, support you as you're on this mission. Now, currently, the mission is to create a beautiful space, a healing center, which feels exciting. If the mission changes, it doesn't matter. The advisors will guide you along the way. Who do you want on your board of advisors? Now, I don't mean a name. What kind of people do you want? I need someone on my board of advisors who's a warrior, who is not afraid of most things. They're not scared by the things that I'm scared about. They're willing to take big risks. They're a warrior. I want a warrior on my team. I want a warrior on my team. And by a warrior, I mean someone who's constantly scanning the horizon for danger, looking out for problems that I might not see because I'm a visionary. Give me an example of the kind of person you might want on your team.
I don't necessarily have the warrior or warrior words for them, but I want someone that can handle all the details, like all the logistics. So maybe that is I don't know the title for that, but they're the details person of making sure everything runs seamlessly, so that I don't have to worry about that.
Nice. Yeah, I love having details people because on Colby, I'm a high quick start, which means if I have an idea, I want to start it yesterday, and that stresses my team out because they want to make everything else run smoothly first. And I'm low on fact finder, which means I need headlines. I do not want lots of information.
Mm, mm, yeah. I also would love someone to do and I don't know if I want like financial person that does the bookkeeping, the taxes, and the financial. Does this make sense financially and strategically and all that stuff that does not, just even talking about it, I'm like, ugh.
Yep. So here's what I hear. Two people on the team would be amazing for you is a wizard in the details and a financial wizard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 Um, Someone that does the marketing and the can take, like, you spoke into how you can, like Alex, you can speak your ideas for a program, and he can take all that and kind of organize it and reflect it back to you. I need someone like that for my ideas.
So a marketing wizard, someone who you can speak ideas into, and they'll have ideas about how to speak it out into the world, how to tell other people about it.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
That's great.
That's all that's coming right now.
Do you need a warrior on your team? Someone who will push you to do things that scare you? Or is that might be you? It's not me.
Me.
So
Yeah. Yeah, that's me. And so I feel like we, um, mm, maybe, and yeah, I transparently I push really hard. I can pushing really hard is not a problem for me. I've pushed my whole life. Um, so in this moment, I'm like, no, I don't need to be pushed. I want to actually like drop into that more feminine and openness and relaxation. So yeah, I don't know.
would I be right that you need a goddess on your board of advisors? A goddess who reminds you, hey, looks like you're moving into masculine energy there. Let's bring you feminine energy.
Yes. Yes, please. Yes. Uh-huh. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And then would you need a warrior to help you do some of the things that you no longer want to battle over?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm.
So check this out for a moment. Imagine you're building a team, whether they're advisors. I think you're shifting more from a board of advisors into a team. So we'll roll with it and see. There's a slight distinction, but imagine a team where you have someone who's a wizard at the details, so you don't have to hold them. And you have someone who's a financial wizard. So things are like profitability, cash flow. You don't have to know all the details. They'll answer your questions when you need to, or they'll give you advice when needed. And you have a marketing expert who you can go to ask for advice. What do you think if I share it this way or this way? They'll be able to guide you.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, the details, the finances, the marketing, there's a goddess on your team, and her only job is to remind you to lean back into feminine energy. You can channel the masculine energy when needed. You're not afraid to do that. but her job is to remind you more often than not, lean back into the feminine side of things. And you have a warrior there who can lean into the masculine side, if you like, when needed, so you don't have to.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Cool. Now, notice that because I said 6 spots around this table, I made that up. You could have 5, you could have 4, you could have 8. Let's leave the 6th spot open for now. There's someone else who you need at this table, I'm going to say, and we don't have to yet work out who that is. Let me ask you. Let's start with the goddess energy. Who do you know who brings that kind of goddess energy? Who could be an advisor? Maybe not even on the team explicitly, but someone who you can go to and say, "Hey, look, here's what I want. Here's how I'm showing up. What advice do you have about that I need to hear about stepping into my feminine side?"
Julie.
Okay. How about the warrior? Is there someone who comes to mind when you think about the warrior energy?
Hmm. I guess no. The only one is my other coach, but he wouldn't be on my. That's a hard one for me. Wow, I'm getting uncomfortable. I'm really practicing being in my masculine. So yeah.
Good catch. Good catch.
Yeah.
So look, you get to decide. This might be an advisor, or it might be someone who's joining the team. If it's someone who's joining the team with that warrior energy, they're going to be handling stuff so that you don't have to. That's going to be edgier for you because you're going to be tempted to constantly want to take that on because it's what you know.
Yeah.
The advisor is someone who can see how you show up. They kind of complement the goddess energy, the warrior, so that they're going to be there to guide you. Hey, look, you know what? I think it's time to let go of that one. And they're more from advice. So there's 2 different roles here. One is actually more likely to be on a team, and one's more of an advisor. So you don't have to fill this spot right now. What you get to do is put this up on your wall and say, oh, this is what I'm building. I'm building a team of advisors and team members. And there's an empty spot here right now.
Yeah.
Nature abhors a vacuum. So you put that spot on your wall and you'll start to begin to look for that and see that, and people will show up in your world, and you'll start to have conversations about those spots around your table.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it. I like actually just putting it up there and letting the universe like come after I claim it and own it and want it. Yeah.
Even when you want to talk about a details wizard, I'll introduce you to somebody I know. I won't do it on the podcast, but I'll talk to you privately about someone I know who might be able to advise you. If it's not them, I think they'll know who it might be, because that's their gift, is finding those details people for people building teams.
Awesome. I would love that. Thank you.
Cool. And then, financial wizard, the marketing wizard, you've got some great people around you now, particularly in 4PC. And that's the great thing about building a community, is that you can go to them and say, hey, who helps you? This is what I'm looking for. It could be one of them, someone who they hire, who's also looking for someone else to work for. So the power of having this out on your vision right now is, oh, I know what I need. I need support.
Yeah.
Some advisors and some team members.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Feels really clear.
I'm going to come back to where we began. There's this golden thread for you. Creating beautiful spaces. It's what you do. It might turn out it's a physical space and you decide, I'm going to build this retreat center. It might turn out it's more of an emotional space that you take people to other people's retreat centers. You might discover this over time. You'll find out. That we don't need to know right now. It will be a beautiful space wherever it is, whether you own it or you rent it. It won't matter. You'll be creating transformation in a beautiful space. You said something very interesting. Saying yes has been very effortless for you over the years. You are a warrior. You know how to say yes and make things happen. Your biggest challenge, Amyee, over the next few years ahead, is going to be saying no. And so the thought I want to leave you with is, make no your default answer from now on. If somebody says, can you help me with this? Can you do this for me? Your instant reaction is to say no. If you like, you can blame me for the rest of your life. Hey, I'd love to say yes immediately, but my coach has given me a challenge and I'm not allowed to say yes for 48 hours minimum. So I'll sleep on it. And in 48 hours, I'll get back to you. And if it's a hell yes, I'll tell you. If it's not a hell yes, I'll be honest with you. Because in the past, I'll commit to things and it's not a hell yes. And then at some point, there's going to be a cost to both of us if I've said yes too early. So know your default answer from now on. It doesn't mean I'm saying you get to say no to everything. I'm saying say no to everything for 48 hours. And the more you want to say yes, the more reason to pause for 48 hours.
Okay. I can accept that. Thank you.
What's your biggest insight from the conversation today, Amyee? What's one thing you're taking away from today?
I think that what we just ended with is that my biggest challenge will be to say no. That's and I create beautiful spaces of transformation. I like that.
Yeah, you've been doing it since you were 6 years old when you were creating forts outside of this.
Yes, yeah.
Thanks for trusting me, Amyee.
Thank you for leading.
For most of human history, it wasn't called coaching, it was called leadership. And it's what I love to do, to coach people, to lead people, and to mess with people's thinking. If you'd like more of this, or if you'd like to learn more about our community of extraordinary top performers, go to richlitvin.com/oneinsight.